start again. It's a rich thing.
This is the continuation of my previous video where we started to learn the output statements in Python. So in our previous video, we have seen that to use the variable name instead of passing the actual value in a message, we can use the dot format method like this. But here one notable point is, in this message, we want the username first. So in this parenthesis also we need to first the username, and then here we want the user age. So here we need to pass the user age. Or in other words, you can say that we need to maintain the order. But this is true if we don't pass anything within these curly brackets, or actually we can index these elements. For example, the index of the username will be 0, and then the index of the user age will be 1, and so on. So in this example, we have an integer value equals to 10, then we have a float value like 10.5, and then we have a string value that is hello. And I want to print this message in this order. So in this parenthesis, we need to pass these variable names accordingly, otherwise we will get an error. For example, here we need integer value first, so we need to pass the integer variable that is a. Otherwise we will get an error. For example, if I pass here the float value like b, and then if I pass the string then integer, so you will see we will get an unexpected output. For example, let me run this code. So here note that in the place of integer it is showing 10.5, which is a float value, and in place of float it is showing a string value. But you can, if you pass the index of these variables in these curly brackets, then it will print our expected output. So here we have passed the variables randomly. So here we want the integer value. So the index of the integer variable, that is a, is 2. So index of a is 0, 1, 2. So if I pass here 2, and then if I pass the index of float, that is b, so the index of b is 0, and then if I pass 1 here, and if I run this code, so here it is showing our expected output. And you can also use some auxiliary name. So this is the next method. So let me pass here an auxiliary name, that is I, and then f, and then s. And now within this parenthesis we need to pass this auxiliary name also. So here the auxiliary name of this b is nothing but the f. So here we need to pass f equals to b like this, and then s equals to c, and then I equals to a, like this way. And let me run this code. So here also it is showing our expected output. So this is how you can implement dot format method. Our next point is print statement with formatted string. But before going to that topic, we need to remember these points, that are modulus I and modulus d represent an integer value, modulus f represent a float value, modulus s represent a string value. For example, here we have a integer value like a equals 10, and then I want to print this value, that is the value is equals to, and here I don't want to pass the integer value directly, but I want to pass here the variable name. Now in this case you can use f string and also dot format method, but here I want to use this formatted string. To do that, we need to write here the modulus I or modulus d, because here I want to represent integer value. So here I need to use modulus I, and then you need to write modulus and then the variable name, that is a, like this. And if you print this, so this is showing our expected output. Now you may think, is there any advantage of using this formatted string or not? So there is advantage, like you can typecast internally. For example, here we have an integer value, that is a equals to 10, but you want this 10 as a float value, like that is 10.0. So to do that, you need to write here modulus f, and it automatically or internally typecast this a into a float value, that is 10.0. Now let me print it. So here note that it is showing a float value, that is 10.000. And also you can set this precision. For example, you want up to 2 decimal points like this. So you need to write here like, So here you need to write modulus then 0.2f, and now if I run this code, so here note that it is showing up to 2 decimal point like this. So our next topic is escape character. In Python, if you want to insert an illegal character in a string, then you need to use this escape character. Illegal in the sense, for example, here we have a print statement like Python is easy to learn. And now if I want to enclose this Python with a quotation, for example, if I use single quote, then it will be okay like this. And now if I run this code, so it is showing our expected output. But if I try to enclose it with double quote like this, then we will get an invalid syntax error like that. So let me run it. So it is showing invalid syntax. Now escape character comes into picture to save us. So escape character is nothing but a backslash followed by the character that you want to insert. For example, here I want to insert this double quote, so we need to use a backslash then this double quote, and here also a backslash then the double quote. Now if I run this code, so it is showing our expected output. Similarly, we have some other characters which have some other meaning if you add a backslash before it. For example, n is nothing but a character like print, and within quotation if I pass a b and like a and then n and then b, then it is going to print a and b like this. So it is showing a and b. And now if I add a backslash before n like this, then it is going to work as a new line. It means it first print a, then it is going to print b in separate line. So let me print it. So this is our output. Similarly, we have some other escape characters. You can try it. In our previous video, we have already learned about two attributes that are int and set, but we have another two attributes that are flush and file. So let's move ahead with the file attribute. So after writing the program, if you run it from here, that is from ideally, then the output will be shown in the Python shell. Or if you run the program from the CMD, then by default the output will be shown on the current shell, that is CMD. But if you want to print the output in any external file, then you need to use this file attribute. For example, I want to print the output in a txt file. So let me first open a notepad and let me save it. So here I'm name it as output.txt and save it. And now coming to the Python code. So here we need to first define a new shell like new shell, and then let me open it. So here we need to pass the file name, that is output.txt, and then open it in write mode like this. And don't confuse about these things because we will learn it in a very great detail in the file handling in Python. So just remember this thing, it is used to open the txt file only. And then let me print an output like print, and then here I'm writing hello world, and then let me define the attribute, that is file equals to new shell, this thing, and then let me close this file, that is new shell dot close. Okay, now if I run this code like this, so it is showing nothing. So where is our output? So actually our output is in the txt file. So this is our output, hello world. So this is how you can use this file attribute. So our last attribute is flush attribute. Flush can takes only boolean values that are false or true. And the default value of flush is false, which means the IO is in buffered mode. If it is true, then the IO will be in unbuffered mode. So what does it mean by buffered IO or unbuffered IO? For buffered IO, there is an internal buffer which is kept, and only when that buffer is full or it encountered with a new line, then the output will be flushed. With unbuffered IO, whenever a call is made to output, then it will do this one character at a time. Most IO functions fall into the buffered category mainly for performance reason. It is a lot faster to write a chunks of characters at a time. So let's understand this concept by an example. In this example, I want to print this line first, that is before delay, and then I have given some delay of 5 seconds, and then I want to print this line that is after delay. But here note that I have used this default value, that is flush equals to false. Actually, if you don't write it, then also the value of flush will remain false, and it means the IO is in buffered mode. So let me execute this code on CMD for better understanding. So let me open CMD and go to the desktop because I have saved the Python file in desktop, and then execute this file, that is temp.py. So it is showing before delay, and then after 5 seconds it is showing after delay. Actually, it is showing the expected output because we know that after printing one line, the control automatically comes to the next line, and the IO is in buffered mode, and it will release the output when it is full or it encounter with new line. So the problem will be occurred if I prevent the control to come to the next line by using the end attribute. So let me add here the end attribute, that is end, and then like this. And now let me save it and then execute it on CMD like this, and cd desktop and py temp.py. Now note the abnormal behavior. So it is not showing anything, but after 5 seconds it is showing both the statement at the same time. Actually, this abnormal behavior occurred because I have prevent the control to comes to the next line after printing the first line. So here comes the unbuffered IO, that is flush with true to save us, because in case of unbuffered IO it will print one character at a time. So the behavior remains same. So let me do it. So flush, and let me change it to true like this, and now save it and then run it on CMD, then py temp.py, and now note the behavior. So it is showing the before delay, and after 5 seconds it is going to print after delay like this in the same line. Okay, because here I have used this int attribute, so it is showing in the same line. So this is how you can use this flush attribute. So this is all for this video.